It's your old friend Chris Black for the good folks at Highland Woodworking. You know, when I was a young cabinet maker, it was very difficult to find decent joinery saws, which was a real problem if you worked in a shop that still did a lot of handwork. You were pretty much limited to whatever your local hardware store or department store had to offer, which really wasn't much. You'd have mass-produced handles, sometimes they were plastic, bad tooth geometry, and the backs that stiffened the blade for accurate and straight cuts, well, they were flimsy at best. But the good news is that we're in a real renaissance of manufacturing for hand tools for woodworkers. There's just some world-class stuff coming out right now. And today I'd like to tell you about one of these companies that are producing wonderful saws. It's Bad Axe Toolworks. And let me tell you, these guys really get it. The first thing you'll notice about Bad Axe saws is their classic design and good looks. They all feature beautifully proportioned cherrywood handles that should comfortably fit just about everyone. I've always found it helpful to point my index finger of my cutting hand down the side of the saw, which improves your line of sight when tracking a layout line. Now, you get solid brass saw bolts and medallions that are expertly counterbored into the handles and high-quality spring steel blades. I really like the massive folded steel backs. They keep the blade dead straight for tracking accuracy and certainly add mass and heft to the saws. As a result, I find I don't have to work as hard when I'm pushing the blades through a cut. Now this is the saw I was using at the beginning of the video. It's the 12-inch Stiletto Dovetail Saw with a very smooth cutting 15 points per inch. It has a rip tooth configuration, which is the right pattern for dovetails. It has a 1 3/4 inch depth of cut. Now you might be thinking, 12 inches? That's pretty big for a dovetail saw. But I can certainly say that it reduces the number of strokes you need to get through a cut, and I find the extra length definitely keeps you on your layout line. It's a real joy to use. This is the 12-inch tenon saw, and it might be my favorite saw of the bunch. It has a hybrid tooth pattern, which I'll get into later, and 12 points per inch. It's a relatively fast cutter with a 2.5 inch depth of cut that should handle all but your biggest jobs. Now, that's where this massive saw comes in. It's the 16-inch tenon saw and has a huge 4-inch depth of cut, 14 points per inch, also with a hybrid tooth pattern. And it might be the perfect saw for datas and rabbet joints. Okay, let's cut a stub tenon to see how these hybrid teeth perform. Now on a tenon, the first cut down is a rip cut for the cheek, and the second cut, which removes the cheek, is a cross cut. The first thing you'll notice when you use any of the saws from Bad Axe Toolworks is how easy they are to start. One thing that I find helpful is if you start the cut like this on the corner rather than down flat like this, it's much easier. Also, once you get the cut all the way across your workpiece, try and use the whole length of the saw. You paid for the whole thing after all. Okay, that looks like we're through with the cheek cut. Now, let's remove that cheek with a cross cut. Again, I'm going to start the cut right on the corner and work my way back. All right, a little bit of waste there, clean that up. Now, very smooth rip, very clean, tear out free, cross cut. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, let's use the big 16-inch tenon saw with the hybrid teeth to cut a simple rabbet joint. And rabbet joints are pretty common in casework. They usually attach panel backs and tops and bottoms of the main case. That tight. And I'll fill it in with a pencil so you can see a little better. Now you'll notice I've started cutting again on the corner and work the saw back along the line. You can also attach a fence temporarily to guide the saw as well. Once you get the cut all the way across the board, then you can take full strokes with the saw, and it's a very efficient cut. Now, here's what I like to do to remove the waste. I take a wide chisel and just split it out. It's very fast, very efficient. And just keep going down until you reach your marking gauge line. And then you can smooth out the bottom of a joint with your favorite shoulder plane. And that's it. The thing you'll notice is that it's a very clean cross cut. There's no fiber tear out here, and the thing that really impresses me about this large saw is that the heft really brings the saw down into the cut. All you have to do is push. You don't have to force the tool. It's very efficient, and the mass of the saw is a real bonus. Hey, let's sweep away some of the dust and take a better look at that cut. Oh yeah, that's tough to beat. Nice and clean and no tear out. Perfect. Well, there you have it. Bad Axe Toolworks saws. Beauty, function, and world-class performance. Great joy. Now go make some sawdust.